Hi, this is Kathy Weymouth from Tune the Temple, and I've had this theme going through my mind this week, and I wanted to share it with you. I have been sensing myself being overwhelmed, and then I talked to a couple other women in my circle, and I was like, wow, this is really becoming a theme. And I did mention it last week as one of the signs of lacking boundaries, that your life will be overwhelmed. And then I read this week that being overwhelmed is one of the most significant sign that you are lacking boundaries in your life, and that your life could benefit by learning to set boundaries that are healthy for you. Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. We had a major storm of rain here in Vermont. It's been on the news. We had major flooding, like several communities underwater. The one closest to me, about maybe 6 miles away, was completely submerged. The store, the church, all the homes were all flooded in the lower levels. Some of them were going up into the second level. And when I looked up and Googled the word overwhelm, one of the things that came up was, if water overwhelms a place, it covers it suddenly and completely. Well, we had an overwhelm of water this week, and fortunately it has all gone downstream and gone into the lake, so it's working its way out, but it really caused a lot of problems. Well, being overwhelmed in your life can cause a lot of problems as well. And one of the biggest things I think that happens when you're overwhelmed is your whole mood and your countenance and your ability to think, your ability to process and to work is really affected when you're overwhelmed. You have cognitive decline. You're not able to function as well. And then, of course, there's long-term effects, long-term effects of being overwhelmed. So when we are overwhelmed, we are in over our heads, and we just have too much on our plate to handle. Lately, I've been saying, I can't get through my to-do list. Like I just don't have enough time in the day. And then I read about a woman who had gone to counseling, and she was wanting her counselor to help her create more hours so she could get her list done. And it doesn't work that way. We can't change the number of hours. But what can we do about all of the demands in life? Do you have too much on your plate to handle? Do you think that the answer is to work harder and to work more hours and to find more hours in your day? It's just not going to work that way. And so I have been sort of practicing a few things this week that I want to encourage you in, that if you are overwhelmed, what can you do about it? How can you actually change the climate of your life? Because you don't want to have this mental, just diminished mental capacity. You don't want that in your life. You want to be able to function, and you want to be able to also be in a mood that you're able to be healthy in your relationships and all that you go through. So I've been asking myself a couple of questions, and one of the things that I think would be, I'm going to start, here's my suggestions. Ready? Here's where you grab your pencil, grab your paper, rewind the video if you need to. So first, maybe just make a list. Brainstorm all of the responsibilities you have in your life, and then look at them and really contemplate, is there one or two that if you took them off the list, you would feel really less stressed? Maybe you can't take them off your list, but what would that feel like? That might help you at least target what is stressing you the most, okay? And just ask yourself then, and all of these, this is all boundary setting, by the way. Ask yourself, is there anything on this list that I personally don't have to do, or don't have to do at this time in my life? Is there anything on this list that I can either put on pause or delegate to someone else? And I've talked about delegating before. I've mentioned these things in a couple of previous videos, so go back and look at my previous videos for that. Is there anything on your list that you can actually say no to and stop actually doing it? Really take a good look at your list, okay? And find if there's anything that you can cross off and not be a part of for a while to recoup. Okay, maybe not, but this is a good place to start. And then another idea that might help you, And of course, if you can delegate, let me go back to that. If you can delegate, start to do that. Start to see who you could ask to pick up some of what you're doing so that you can get a little bit less of a load and be a little bit less overwhelmed and not completely submerged underwater. Okay, then another thing is, can you lower your expectations of yourself, like the quality of your work? Now, we want to have a good work ethic. And so many of the younger generation, I'm really concerned because they're not raised to have good work ethic. But some of us have too high of a work ethic, and we expect perfection out of ourselves. And that puts us over the top because anything that we do, we labor over it. Like, I don't know how many times I've labored over writing an email or presenting a curriculum for a course and just going over it and how can I tweak it, whatever. And give yourself, instead of perfection, this is what I want to remind you, give yourself permission to do B work. B work is good work, but it's not as demanding as A+ work. It will lighten up your load a little bit. Okay. And here's another suggestion for you, and this one's really important. Can you tell? Can you hear the brook behind me? Can you tell I'm out in nature in a peaceful place? Is there any way for you to carve out some moments of time to find a peaceful place? One of the things I learned recently, and if you're in the country and you're able to do this, or if you have a backyard, to ground yourself in the soil by going barefoot, standing barefoot on ground, and just get yourself grounded into the earth and do a little bit, maybe some deep breathing or some praying or some meditating. You need to carve out moments of peace to restore yourself. And you might think you don't have the time for that, but actually that time will cause your brain and your psyche to be more productive, more sharper. Okay, so that's a really, really good suggestion. Okay, so what can you delegate? What can you say no to? Is there anything you can stop doing? Be okay with grade B work, and then find a peaceful, quiet place and spend some time there as often as you can, if possible on a daily basis, or as many times in the week as you possibly can. Okay, so I really hope that you realize that if you're feeling overwhelmed, you are not alone. We have so much. Sometimes I just can't even keep up with the text messaging and the people I need to get back to, and I need to schedule into appointments, and it seems like it's endless. So find strategies. Maybe even turn off your phone for an hour a day or something that you can give yourself a break if it's technology overwhelm. Okay, so this is Kathy Weymouth from tunethetemple.com, and I really, really hope that you can find ways to diminish the overwhelm in your life. Okay, bye. Have a great day.